Hari Om. So, Dirghashman Bhava, Stribhyaha, Dirgha Sumagali Bhava, Kanya Stribhyaha, Shigrameva, Vivaga Praptirastu, Sarve Janaha, Sugino Bhavantu, Sarva Aishwaryam Abhivriddhir Bhavatu, Tadastu, Tadastu, Tadastu. So, I am continuing today my part 2 of Bible versus Bhagavad Gita in English. So, this is specifically again continuing the my address towards those two teachers who influenced or tried to or were alleged to have influenced those two young girls. Their names I think must be Lavanya and Vaishnavi. To read Bible only and not to read Bhagavad Gita, and also to others like some certain TamilNadu politicians and TamilNadu pastors or priests, whatever it is. Specifically addressed to them, because even among European pastors I don't find. Now, let us go to what is known as whether the Bible is, we have seen last in part 1 about Bible's various unacceptable things. That's why Einstein said most of the things are childish. Let us see some more whether Bible conforms to science also. If you take Genesis, I'm having this book, the Holy Bible. I'm reading only from the book. Not from my own imaginations. From the book in Genesis, you see God started the process of creation. Now in the process of creation, what happens is, if you go to Genesis 1, and in the Genesis 1, he says the first day what he does, he created light, let there be light, and there was light. And then he goes, and that was the evening and the morning were the first day. Okay, the second day also he said, let there be a firmament in the midst of waters, and let the waters be divided, and then the heaven, earth, and all. That was the second day, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And then the third day, and God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And it was, and the evening and the morning, as again repeated, and the evening and the morning were the third day. Now the fourth day, he said, let there be lights in the firmament, and he divides the light into night and day, and lesser light is called night and all, and the sun and the moon, stars and all were created in the fifth day. So the point is, first point, the day as per modern science, as per confirmed astrophysics, is the earth rotates. Okay, we have a solar system, the earth rotates. Now that portion of the earth which receives sunlight is called a day today. That's how the physics says. And the other portion which does not receive the sunlight is called the night. And by rotation, the earth rotates on its own axis, right? And the circumference of the earth is about 40,000 kilometers, approximately 40,005 or something. And traveling at the speed of 5 kilometers a second, that is rotating at the speed, it takes 24 hours. 24 hours, we know how many minutes, 60 into 60, 1 day. So 24 hours it takes to complete a circle, or in the 12 hours, the portion that was exposed to sunlight becomes a night by rotation, by mere physics, that's all, by rotation. So that becomes the day, and here I do not know how the day in the Bible is calculated. There must be a different day. Because on the sixth day, up to that creation was there. Seventh day, God wanted to take rest. Okay. So, absolutely as per modern physics, the science is absent here. Whereas it is not so in Bible, in Bhagavad Gita or in Hinduism. Let us go later on to that. So, I feel that it does not conform to modern science. Because the day calculation is wrong. Sun and the moons were in the... comments were said to have been created on the fourth day. Well, sun, because of sun, we get our day. And because of earth's rotation, we get our night. That's very simple logic. I need not explain it further. Everybody knows that. So the evening becomes a night, and the lesser the light, it becomes a night. The greater the light, it becomes a day. These do not conform to modern physics at all. Therefore, this has to be pointed out in Bible. If my student or my children or my friend's children, whosoever goes to school and reads the Bible and doesn't read Bhagavad Gita, and only Bible is the Veda Vakya or something, tomorrow they would come and say the sun rises in the west, I have to hear, and sets in the east, and the moon does not rise, or the moon rises in the morning or in the night, in the morning, or 3 2s are not 6, 3 multiplied by 2 is not 6, it is 60. If they go on giving information based on physics, based on Bible, then how the child can get educated? Because without physics, nothing will work today. Your refrigerator, your motor, your car, your mobile, your telephones, your cooling systems, your aircraft, your ship, everything has to depend on modern physics based on theoretical physics of Einstein. E, energy liberated, is mc squared, mass multiplied by the square of the velocity, speed of the light. Nothing will work. Now, as per that physics, the earth rotates, and by rotation, we get the night and day. Well, I do not know. And then the other beauty, then now I go to, this is all available in Genesis. Now, in Genesis, if you go to the chapter 2, and then you go to the verse 17, God tells to Adam and Eve. See, Adam was created out of his own image. So, they accept that humans, we have the same image as God, that is especially males and also females, okay, because from the rib of Adam, Eve, the female, was created for his companion, all right, okay. So we all have images. So God has image. So we can create by the permission of, without the permission of God, we can create even idols with our image, worshipping it as a God, because we belong to his image. Well, that is another point. Then the God tells Adam and Eve not to eat fruits from a particular tree. That's called the tree of knowledge, because it contains both good and evil. And they accept until such time a serpent comes and entices Eve to eat, saying that God is jealous of you, you will get all the knowledge, he doesn't want you to eat. So they eat. Eve eats, and then they gives a fruit to Adam. So under her compulsion, Adam eats. Then what happens? Their eyes opened. So they were created blind by God. God first of all should not be partial. He should be impartial. First of all, he cannot create beasts and beasts like deer and hyena, because hyena are evil. They, in order to eat, they go and kill the innocent deer, those herbivorous animals, and they are eaten alive. You can see Animal Planet, or you can see all those YouTubes. They are eaten alive, and they lose the stomach. The deer stands, fights for its life. After losing its stomach also, intestines, everything, still it breathes and lives. Till it dies, till their heart is eaten or something, or it swoons and loses its consciousness. So why should God create all the beasts like hyenas and all? Why should he create evil? That's my question. God cannot create evil, because if you see Mandukya Upanishad, I'm going to give a lecture on that, start a lecture. Mayaya vidyate hi anyata kathanchana tatvad vidyamane hi martyatam amrutam vrajet. Immortal, simple understanding is, an immortal cannot create something which is mortal. If the immortal creates mortal, then the immortal itself becomes mortal. Immortal has to be immortal always. I will give you a beautiful explanation, Mandukya Upanishad. You can let us go later on. So God cannot first of all have partiality and create differences. He cannot create an animal and a beast and a tree, and because animals, herbivorous or innocent animals, and they are being eaten by carnivorous animals who cannot survive without eating those herbivorous animals. And the way they are eating is so cruel, live. Especially wild dogs in Africa or in Masai Mara and all, you can see they eat alive. Hyenas, at least lions and tigers, okay, they go and catch the throat and suffocate it and then kill, and then it dies and then they eat. That is okay in a way. But here, so why does God create all such beasts which devours other animals? Is there no other way of creation? Is my question. So Bible says like that. So God cannot be partial. And then when their eyes opened after eating the feed, that means after having disobeyed their God, their eyes open. Because they are not supposed to have knowledge. Knowledge is, God says, okay, good and evil. But why did God create evil knowledge? Who created the devil is question of Thomas Alzheimer. And in Hindu, as per the Hindu Shastras, God is there everywhere. It is we, because of our bad mind, we become the devil. That's it. But in olden times, okay, philosophers who are not philosophers or who are not deep thinkers like the tribal people have to be educated at their level. A first standard child has to be educated at first standard basic math, and then we can teach him calculus when he grows up. That is the point. Since therefore, the God created both good and evil, and when they disobeyed God, their eyes open up. So God does not want them to have knowledge is against Bible, against Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita, beautifully, if you see chapter 4, verse number 35. Chapter 4, verse number 35. Yet jnatva na moham evam prapsyasi bharata yena bhutani asheshani yena bhutani asheshani drakshyasi atmanah atah mayi ato mayi. Yad jnatva, which you, after knowing that only, moham, no moham at all, no lust at all, na moham evam prap yasyasi. Yasyasi means you don't go there. See, mi vahamaha sita hata, it is addressing Arjuna. Bharata, yena bhutani aseshani. Beautiful words. Bhutani aseshani means aseshesha means leftovers. So the bhutani means all the bhutas who are leftovers means the living beings who have not discarded their mortal bodies. Beautiful way of putting in Samskrita. Bhutani asheshani drakshasi. You will see mayi in me. Ataha tasmat means therefore, after that. So if you know that, you will see all beings in me only. All the living beings in me. What? You have to have knowledge. Bhagavan wanted you to have knowledge. Knowledge of the self, knowledge of everything. Knowledge is essential. Then you go to Gita, chapter 5, verse number 16. He says, Jnanena tu tat ajnanam esham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavat tat jnanam prakashayati tatah param, tato param, he says. Jnanena, only by jnanena tu tat ajnanam, foolishness or ignorance, I would say ignorance, jnanam ajnanam. Only by jnana the ajnanam nasitum, for that atmanah. Then he says, tesham, after receiving that knowledge, adityavat tat jnanam, that jnanam adityavat prakashayati. They shine like Aditya. Anybody having the name of Aditya, whether in TamilNadu or you see, they're all successful in their life at various degrees. Political parties are there, TV channels are there, names of newspaper barons are there, everything will be Aditya and all. If they have Suraj or Surya and all, mostly in varying degrees, they will be successful. That's what Adityavat prakashayati, that Atmanaha, that Athaha, Mayi, in me. So they will shine in me only. That is, everybody you can, with Jnana, you will see all the shining Atmas inside me. Bhagavan says, he talk. That is chapter 5, verse number 16. Now, if you go to chapter 5, verse number 17, Bhagavan says, Tatu buddhayah, Tatu atmanah, that Atmana means they call as a person, for example, that Atma, that Atmanah, Tannishtaha, Tatu parayanah, Gachanti appunaha avritim, Jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. Jnana, by Jnana, nirdhuta, expelling kalmasha, all sins. What is that? They Gachanti appunaha avriti. Avriti means rotation, birth and death, avriti. Gachanti appunaha, not again they will go to that avriti, to the cycle of birth and death. What is that? Jnanam is what? Bhagavan says, Tatu buddhayah. Buddhi, tat buddhayah, tat atmanah, tannishtaha, who firmly, devotedly, with all sincerity, faith, devotion, firmness, steadfastness, nishtha. You have to have the nishtha. Tat parayanah, who always do the parayanam. Parayan on Hindi bolte hai parayan, means prasangam, praising the Lord or chanting the names or thinking about Lord by Vachanam, by mouth, giving Ramayana Parayanam or Bhagavad Gita Parayanam and all, that Parayanaha, then what happens? Gachanti apunaha. They will not go again to the cycle of avriti, means punaha, punaha, punaha. Appunaha, punaha, again, appunaha, not again. To the avriti, to the birth and cycle, birth and death cycle. Jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. Kalmasha means sins. By jnana only, they are throwing away all the sins. They do not enter the cycle of birth and death. That buddhi, tad buddhayaha, with the firmness, if they realize that jnana, buddhayaha, tat atmanaha, tan nishtaha is tat nishtaha, but in the vigrava, in the sandhis, when you conjoin, you will get the nishtana, so tan nishtaha, with a firmness, just steadfastness. Parayanaha, who praise, who do prasanga, who do bhajans, who do parayanas. So that is everything you will be expelling, and you will merge, and you will not come back into the chakra of avriti appunaha, you will not come back. So jnana is very, very important knowledge. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, whatever it is, once you realize that knowledge, here Bhagavan implies knowledge is Atma, means that Atma, I am there in every Atma, he says. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam mayi pashyati. We can talk of Gita later on, for some more verses. But this is what Bhagavan says. So if you realize your Atma, you have that knowledge, you are pure. There is no question of it being evil. Whatever evil you have done earlier, or you would have even attempted to do, nirdhutaha kalmashaha, all the sins get expelled. Again, Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse number 18, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavim Hastinim Shunim Chaiva Chaeva Chaiva Chaiva Shwa Pakakaha Samadarshinaha Panditaha. So Vidya, by Vidya and that Vinayam, humility, Sampanne, after obtaining, after gathering, or after accumulating, or after possessing, Sampanne, what happens? Brahmane, you see the Brahmana, in the Brahmana, Gavi, go, Denuhu, Pasu, cow, Gavi, Hastini, Gajaha, elephant, Shunihi, Shunakaha, dog, Cha eva shwa pakaha, dog eater, cooks, one who cooks the dog eater. Samadarshinaha, panditaha, those panditas, by vidya, they have see equal. Sama darshanam, darshinaha. Everything they see equal, whether it is pandita, brahmana, or whether it is cow, or whether it is Gajaha, the elephant, or whether it is the dog or the dog eater. Samadarshinaha Pandita. So here, what is the meaning? The meaning is, one has to have knowledge. If you don't eat the fruit of knowledge, then only with knowledge is a very big universal set. You will know within knowledge what is good and evil. So knowledge will contain, because your mind, your five senses will have something attracting towards evil, undesirable things. So you have to have knowledge, is what Bhagavan says here. They say don't eat that fruit from a tree, and that tree contains both good and evil. The tree of knowledge. You should not eat, and if you eat, you will die. I do not know what is meant by death here. You only created. See, why I am telling is, there are lots of good verses in Bible. There are some verses which may not tally with the modern thinking. So how are you going to say that only Bible is best and Bhagavad Gita don't read it? I will put, Bhagavad Gita contains nothing of all these things. Bhagavad Gita contains lovely verses. See, if you go to the angle of revenge, I really did not accept this. If you go to, I would say, Exodus. And he that strikes, I am talking of verse number 15. in chapter number, verse number 15, in chapter number 8, in 21. In chapter number 21. And he that strikes his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. Well, no father and mother, even if their son or daughter strike them or hit them or even kill them, do not want them to die. They will take the death upon them, or they will take the strike upon them, because that is how the Hindu Vedas teach. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. And then he says, this type of, that's what Richard Dawkins does not have good opinion about Bible, because you can't be violent. You can't be violent. And then if you go to Leviticus in chapter, in verses 19 and 20 of the chapter 24, chapter is 24, and verses 19 or 20 you can take. Fracture, and if a man causes a disfigurement in his neighbor, as he has done, so shall it be done to him. So tit for tat, you have to, that is in 19. And in 20, in the same Leviticus, it says, fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he has caused a disfigurement in a man, so shall it be done to him again. So a tit for tat. I have already quoted verses from the Thiruvalluvar. Inna Saidarai Uruttal, our Nana Nannayam said, do not harm anybody, even if they harm unto you. Do good unto them, so that they feel ashamed of the harm done unto you. But here he says, fracture for fracture, eye for an eye. And Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth make the whole world blind. See, but there are good commandments. See, the commandments of the Moses, 10 commandments, they say. There are don't kill, don't steal and all. That is also there. Don't commit adultery. But it is for the tribes of the Israel. It is not for the Indians, because never in India, never in the Bible, even in the creation, if you take Genesis, they all talk of the rivers in chapter 2, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, Euphrates in Assyria or in Iraq, modern Iraq. They don't talk of Ganga or Kaveri or Yamuna, because they do not know these places. It is meant, especially Old Testament, is meant for the tribes of Israel. And they had no control. They never knew, they couldn't think philosophically that who am I, why I am created. They did not think on those lines. They only wanted the physical pleasures. They have to eat, they have to drink, they have to go and take bath, they have to have comforts. They were poor, they could not even really cultivate food. See, these are all about the factors. So at that time when Moses gave some strict laws, it is required. It is a welcome sign. It brings orderliness into that society. So that is what Moses gave his 10 commandments. But Moses did not talk of anything of ahimsa and all. Ahimsa, see, there is a beautiful verse, because it is again philosophical. Let noble thoughts pour from all sides. It's what Veda says. Ano badraha kritavo yantu vishwataha. These things come to a civilization who are already crossed all these basic first standard, second standard and all levels. They come to a civilization who question, who are we, why I am here, why did God create all these partialities and all. So those civilizations, the answer was there, and how you should behave. Let the basic thing, the thought be pure. Then everything automatically down the line will be pure. See, in Mahabharata or Adi, we have Adi Parva or we have Anushasana Parva and all. Anushasana is Bhishma gives the code of conduct. He says, Ahimsa, in Anushasana Parva I am quoting, Ahimsa paramo dharmaha, tatha ahimsa paro damaha. Damaha is internal control. You should have control of your mind. Damaha is internal control, because mind contains everything. Then ahimsa paramam danam, ahimsa paramas tapaha. Ahimsa is the greatest. I will explain later on. Ahimsa paramo yajnaha, ahimsa param balam, ahimsa paramam mitram, ahimsa paramam sukham, ahimsa paramam satyam, ahimsa paramam shrutam. Shruta means Veda. you hear Shruti and Smriti means teachings, Vedic good teachings. So ahimsa paramo dharma. It's the greatest dharma. Ahimsa, non-violence. That's what Mahatma Gandhi followed, non-violence. Ahimsa paro damaha. It's the greatest internal control. So you have to meditate and be pure in thoughts. That's what the Vedas says. Then everything down the line will be pure. You will not get angry. You will not be jealous. You will not try to kill. You will not try to steal. You will have a logical thinking. So damaha, self. Then he says, ahimsa paramam danam. Ahimsa is the greatest danam. And ahimsa paramas tapaha. Paramaha tapaha. It's the greatest tapas. It's the greatest meditation. Then ahimsa paramo yajna, yagam, sacrifice. Yajna is a very big where you worship all the devas. It is required. You have to worship the forces of nature. And ahimsa is param balam. It's the greatest strength humanity can have. Non-violence. Ahimsa paramam satyam. Ahimsa is the greatest satya. Then ahimsa paramam satyam, ahimsa paramam shrutam means Vedas. It's greater than all your teachings. It's the greatest teaching. Ahimsa, non-violence. It is ahimsa paramam mitra. It's the greatest friendship. Ahimsa is the greatest paramam sukha. It's the greatest sukha. Bliss you will have. See, these are all how in Anushasana Parama, Bhishma tells his followers of Pandavas and everybody that ahimsa is the main thing, not an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That is, it is not correct. In Bhagavad Gita it is. So those two teachers, I am calling them again. If you say that you want to study only Bible, you have to read only Bible and you should not read Bhagavad Gita, then how it will tally? The principle of India was found on the basis of non-violence by Mahatma. That Mahatma, he will now roll in his tomb now, if you tell like that. Because in Bible I see these verses. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, fracture for a fracture. Even it is there in all the Abrahamic. Even in Quran they would say, it is there. Revenge is there. Give equal slap on the face. It is there in the Bible. So, what I am telling is, you should not tell that read only Bible and not Bhagavad. You should say read all religious books. Believe in God. All righteous things. Every religious text may have ups and downs. We do not know. It can be subject to interpretation. But certain verses are very clear in Bible. Whereas you don't find these verses in Bhagavad Gita. Where do you find command code? I am prepared for an argument with an intellectual debate. No problem. Because I have lots we can take, but time is not there. We can put lots from Bible. And there are good verses also. Because Moses' commandments are very good in those days. Because they were unruly tribes. They had no education. They were all what you say as tribals in the Adivashis we say. Very old tribals inside, like in Africa if you go, there are pygmies. They may not understand the philosophy of who you are, how you are, what you are, why were you born, for what reason you are born, what is karma, may not understand. So for them you have to give them the first standard coaching, then second standard, then third, then your high school, then college, later on. So my dear teachers and my dear politicians, especially TamilNadu, certain politicians and pastors, don't belittle Hinduism. You praise your religion, that is a different matter. But don't try to belittle or berate Hinduism, because the knowledge of that Hinduism, the text is amazing. Everybody in the West is now coming to meditation, yoga, reading these scripts. I've seen people, young boys from America in Tiruvannamalai reading Mandukya Upanishad. I was astounded. They say nothing can beat your philosophy, sir. High thinking. Where? When? 4, 5, 6,000, 7,000 years ago. Okay, my dear students, the more of it I shall continue till such time. Bhuya, Tavat, Shubha Mangalam, Hari Om.